Dam Lake to Horicon Marsh and everywhere in between, we're talking about what's important in your hometown. This is Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Good morning and welcome to Hometown Today, live from the Slumberland Furniture Studios. Hometown Today presented by Professional Floor Covering Your Floor and so much more, and brought to you in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in beautiful historic downtown Beaver Dam. Amy Hudson here with you. We're also streaming today live from the Daily Dodge TV studios. Big thank you to all of our fans that joined us yesterday in Milwaukee for our Milwaukee baseball bus trip. It was so much fun. Big thank you to Rob Mielek of Mielek Law and Columbus Family Dental for sponsoring the trip, and BD Food Pride also for hosting our pickup and drop-off location. Totally essential. You have to have that covered off. And there really wasn't much that was happening during the game. It's always fun to go to see the Brewers play, but not a lot happened until the game was almost completely over. But yay, they finally pulled it over the Padres. It was a tough series, and just one run. That's all that did at that final score for the Brewers. So it was a great time. Your Milwaukee Brewers will be back in action right here on your home for Milwaukee Brewers baseball this Saturday as they pay a visit to the Cardinals and kick off a series there. We will have all the action starting for you at 1 o'clock with a pregame show this Saturday and the first pitch being tossed out at 1:30. Really excited to have our second edition of Chamber Chat, Spotlight on Local Business. And a huge thank you to Tracy Probst, the Executive Director for the Beaver Dam Chamber of Commerce, for helping us pull this show together. It's always an interesting mix of local business owners and such a great opportunity for us to hear their stories, what inspired them to start their business, and to learn about what they do and how they can help you. And this morning with us, we have CMG Home Loans owner Angie Krieger. We'll be talking to Angie later on this hour. Nate Soto, the owner of Ankle Rentals, is also with us here this morning on Hometown Today. And Susan Bauman, up first, the owner of Mind Body OT. And we will be talking with Susan in just a couple of minutes here. Also this hour, another chance for you to get qualified for McKinstry's Home Furnishings Right to Win contest that will be happening this Saturday from 9 to 11. Some amazing prizes up for grabs, that $500 shopping spree at McKinstry's Home Furnishings, $166 as McKinstry celebrates their 166th anniversary, and also a 4-pack of Milwaukee baseball tickets. You do have to get qualified in order to win, so we'll take care of that this hour and next hour here on Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Are you
Good morning and welcome back to Hometown Today with Chamber Chat, Spotlight on Local Business. Thank you to Tracy Probst, Executive Director for the Beaver Dam Chamber of Commerce, for helping to get this show off of the ground and securing our guests for the show. Really excited to introduce our guests to you today as we get to know them and learn about what they do and how they can help you with the businesses that they have here. We'll be getting to know Angie Krieger with CMG Home Loans owner this morning. Nate Soto, the owner of Ankle Rentals, is with us today as well. And getting to go first in the spotlight is a familiar face, Susan Bauman, owner of Mind Body OT. Welcome and good morning, Susan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. When I saw you in the lobby waiting not too long ago, I thought, wow, she really looks familiar. So I was saying hello to everyone. And then as we made our way down to the Daily Dodge TV studios, you let me know that we had already met. And where was it where we met? You share with everybody.
Yeah, it was at Slumberland, I think about a month ago, for a women in business opportunity from Chamber of Commerce, and there was so many women that showed up, and we had a great time getting to know each other.
We really did. It was a super fun morning, and everyone gets to know each other. You kind of share a little elevator speech about yourself, and then we had activities, and one of them made me really nervous because I had honestly never ever played rock, paper, scissors. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really going to embarrass myself. And it was a really fun exercise, and we laughed together a lot, and of course we learned something from that exercise, not just doing something on your own, but having a team behind you cheering you on and propelling you. It felt really good. So yeah, and before we hit the air, Ninja is our producer here today, and we were all having a good laugh. Like, that's what happened, Amy Hudson. You never had a childhood. You never played rock, paper, scissors.
And Amy didn't tell you that she did win the whole thing.
I did. Thank you, Susan.
She won the whole thing.
You never know what a day will bring. Well, I am excited to learn about what you do as the owner of Mind Body OT. And I don't know much because it's not my story to tell, but I do know that you started Mind Body OT in 2019, and it has something to do with biofeedback therapy.
Correct.
You are the expert, Susan. So please tell us what that is and how it is a benefit to people, because there are many benefits to doing what you do at Mind Body OT.
Absolutely. So I called it Mind Body OT because I am an occupational therapist for the last 35 years, but I became certified in biofeedback in 2001. I worked at Beaver Dam Community Hospital for 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And then I left there in 2019, a lifelong dream of doing private practice. And I love, love, love doing biofeedback. I love it so much. I work with people living with chronic pain, anxiety, insomnia, these chronic conditions that can very much negatively affect your daytime functioning. And I am able to help people learn techniques on how to back off that fight or flight response. When your pain is ratcheting up or when your stress levels are ratcheting up, it worsens all of those symptoms. And instead of having the rest of your day be ruined and going home and going back to bed, you can use the techniques that you learn in biofeedback therapy and kind of hit your own reset button and then just move on with your day. And using biofeedback, another thing I love about it is there's no guesswork involved. When you come, you're in a recliner, and I have you all hooked up to my biofeedback monitor, and we're watching your heart rate, your respiration rate, your surface EMG muscle tension of tight face, neck, and shoulder muscles, or any other painful areas, skin conductance, hand temperature, all of these physiological indicators on what your body does when it's under stress. And
oh,
of course,
boy.
Pain is very stressful.
Yeah.
And regular life is very stressful.
It could be stressful being on, camera on Daily Dodge TV streaming.
That's right. Or night after night after night of not sleeping, of course, is very stressful when you're laying there staring at the ceiling going, oh my gosh, tomorrow I've got this meeting, I've got to do this, I've got to haul the kids there.
You can't turn it off. Everything just keeps circling through your mind.
Well, you can fun when you come see me.
Okay,
Like,
good. I
these
need to
two
learn
techniques
this.
to quiet your mind and calm your body and reverse that fight or flight response.
Okay.
And it's very gratifying when people are able to really master these techniques and go, holy cow, this works. I don't believe it. And it's great for people who either cannot tolerate the bad side effects of medications or would just plain prefer to not have to take so much medication.
Yeah, it really is overwhelming sometimes when people have so many different medications that they're taking, and they are trying desperately to find an alternative.
Yes.
And Susan, when you talk about those techniques, I really like what you said about hitting that reset button and making it easy, for folks to continue on with just day-to-day things throughout their day. Are there certain techniques for different conditions, and how does that work? Are there steps involved in each of the techniques?
Yes, well, when you come to biofeedback, we find all the ones that work for you because we're all wired to respond a little bit differently. And so it becomes very customized to the person who is in the chair. However, I can give your listeners something that is pretty universal that helps right away for everyone.
Really?
There are some physiological functions that are both involuntary and voluntary.
Okay.
So, if you are aware that your pain is ratcheting up or your stress level is ratcheting up, and you're aware of it because you might notice your heart might be pounding or racing or skipping a beat, or your hands might be getting sweaty, or you might be clenching your jaw.
All this is happening right now as you're describing it, actually.
Or maybe you're like gripping the arms of your chair. So yes, there are physiological signs like, okay, my body is freaking out right now in fight or flight mode. So it is human nature reaction to these things to tighten your muscles, brace yourself, hold your breath, and wait for the bad thing to pass.
Yeah, you're
So-
holding on for it, to get
Yes.
through it.
And when you do that, those muscles tighten up even more, and you are prolonging and intensifying those symptoms. And so no adult is having that conscious decision like, I'm going to hold my breath and squeeze my muscles now. So we're not doing it on purpose. It is just happening. It is just happening. What you can do is catch it and go, oh my gosh, I'm doing that again. Why am I doing that? And you're going to start to slow that breathing down. You're going to inhale through your nose as deep as you can and blow out through pursed lips as slow as you can. So you start slowing the breathing down. And as you're doing that long on purpose exhale, you're going to feel this wave of limpness from the top of your head down to your toes. So you want your forehead to feel smooth and your eyebrows to feel heavy. You want your jaw to go slack and droopy as if you're going to drool. You want to drop your shoulders so you have a ton of space between earlobes and shoulders. You want to make sure your hands are soft and open, meaning they're not clenched in fists or clenching an object close to you. You want to make sure your legs are uncrossed. So after you do 2 or 3 or 4 of these long, slow, deep breaths, you're going to make sure there's nothing left clenched on your body.
Okay.
So we can slow the breathing down and unclench on purpose. So it's, it happened involuntarily, but we can undo it voluntarily.
That's good to know. Just right there. Good to know that we have the power to control that. You make it sound really easy, obviously, because it is what you're passionate about and what you do to help people.
Well, and sometimes things can sound so simple, like, well, that's too simple. How could that possibly help?
Yeah.
But, it's just a matter of doing it. You want to listen to your body. Your body's always telling you what it needs. And we get into trouble when your body is sending you big red flags and we're like, I don't have time for this. And you're just
And you ignore it,
and
yeah.
You're plowing through, and then you get to 9 o'clock tonight and you're like, oh my gosh. So you want to be able to catch it as it's happening all throughout the day and self-regulate. So it's like a teeter-totter. You're noticing, oh, here we go again. Oop, let me take care of it right now before it gets too bad.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you don't want to save it up for later because then it's much harder to get rid of it.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. We're talking this morning with Susan Bauman. Susan is the owner of Mind Body OT. Susan, how can people get in touch with you to have a conversation about what they're experiencing and how you can help them?
Yes, so I'll give out my phone number, and then there's also my website that you can look up, Mind Body OT, that you can, scroll through that and see if you have any more questions. But please call me on the phone with any of your questions, 920-382-6900. And I also wanted to point out I offer cranial sacral therapy, which is a very gentle hands-on therapy that also helps to relax your muscles and to neutralize and calm that nervous system. And then there's one more thing I wanted to point out,
Sure.
because I also do biofeedback for urinary incontinence, which is a totally different kind of biofeedback. That's very much straightforward exercise, and you're learning how to do it very efficiently and effectively, and you can reverse that whole leakage issue.
Well, it's important stuff to know. And I did spend some time on your website before we met this morning. Got reacquainted since I guess we met at Slumberland not too long ago. But there's a long list of things that you can help people with regarding different types of chronic pain. So please share your website again and your phone number.
The phone number is 920-382-6900. And the website is mindbodyotwi.com.
Excellent. Susan Bauman, it's been so nice to spend some time with you this morning. Thank you for making the time to join us here on Chamber Chat Spotlight on Local Business here on Hometown Today. We really appreciate your time, and I hope that you'll come back and visit with us again.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Should we do rock, paper, scissors quick? I don't know if I can remember how to do it. Okay. One, two, three.
Oh, tie.
Oh, okay. One, two, three.
Then paper covers rock, you beat me.
All right. All in good fun, right, Susan? Yes. Excellent. Susan Bauman, owner of Mind Body OT, with us here this morning on Chamber Chat Spotlight on Local Business. Looking forward to getting to know our other guests this morning. We'll be talking with Nate Soto, owner of Ankle Rentals, and CMG Home Loans owner Angie Krieger will also be with us here this morning on Chamber Chat Spotlight on Local Business. Hometown Today presented by Professional Floor Covering Your Floor and so much more, and brought to you in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in beautiful historic downtown Beaver Dam. And yes, we will have more chances for you to get qualified for McKinstry's Right to Win contest, and we really need to get you qualified because the contest happens this Saturday from 9 to 11 at McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. So you'll have chances to get qualified this hour and also next hour here on Hometown Today. If you plan on playing in the dirt, digging in the gardens this weekend, make sure your garden tools are ready to go. I kept telling everybody last week that you need to get everything sharpened. It's going to be nice over the weekend. And then when I got all my stuff out, it wasn't sharpened and ready to go. So I need to get all of my stuff over to Pro Ed Sharpening Services, a division of Professional Floor Covering. They'll take the big stuff and the small stuff. So yeah, my favorite garden tools, they'll totally sharpen those for me. If you have mower blades, they'll take care of those for you. Anything with an edge. And Pro Ed Sharpening Services is a division of Professional Floor Covering. So you'll find them in the same place as Professional Floor Covering, 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam. Just a couple of steps to a different door, Suite D. And of course, online all the time at proedge.com. This is Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
it's Randy from Professional Floor Covering, making sure you don't miss what's happening in your hometown. It's Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Good morning and welcome back to Hometown Today with Chamber Chat Spotlight on local business. Amy Hudson here with you in the Slumberland Furniture Studios. Hometown Today presented by Professional Floor Covering, your floor, and so much more, and brought to you in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in beautiful historic downtown Beaver Dam. And yes, I promise more chances for you to get qualified for McKinstry's Home Furnishings Right to Win contest. We are also live streaming on Daily Dodge TV today. And getting to know some of our local business owners. Chamber Chat is all about putting that spotlight on our local businesses so we can, learn about what they do, how they can help us, but also get to know them just as our friends and neighbors. And excited to introduce to you right now, Nate Soto, who is the owner of Ankle Rentals. This guy will definitely bring the fun and make sure you have what you need for your celebrations. Good morning and welcome, Nate.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, it's our pleasure. Before we hit the air together, I had asked, if it was okay, how I wanted to introduce you, but had just asked simply, what is the one thing that you really want people to know about your business, about Ankle Rentals? And you said it's all about having fun. Mm-hmm. And you really do bring the fun for big events. So tell us what you focus on at Ankle Rentals and how long you've been doing it.
Sure. So Ankle Rentals has been around. I started it in 2019. It was kind of, I woke up a Sunday morning, decided I needed to have a tent for one of my daughter's graduation. She graduated in 2019. So I woke up, found a tent on Marketplace, and I went out to buy it and found out that there were a whole bunch of tents at this place that I was at. So I ended up buying multiple tents that day.
Just in case you needed them for future get-togethers?
My kids were a big part of the sports community here in Beaver Dam. We have a wonderful friends group, and I knew a lot of people. So I knew if I bought these tents, I'd be able to use them and let other people use them. And that's kind of how it started. So I started out with 4 tents, and that kind of transitioned into about the 10 or 12 that I have now.
Wow, I love that it started out just as a need, like
Yep.
a personal need. You needed a tent for your daughter's graduation.
Yep.
And then things just really took off from there. How did you start getting the word out about what you were doing?
It really did, and it was word of mouth is what it ended up being. A lot of graduations in that first year with a lot of friends that we had, and then it kind of transitioned into a lot of other people that I didn't know found out I had tents.
So they're calling up Nate.
Yep.
Can you help me out?
Exactly. Yep. And we started to get into some of the bigger events. And my wife is a court reporter, and she knows the legal side of all of the stuff that's going on. And that's when Ankle Rentals really started. When we started doing some of the corporate events, both in Beaver Dam and out of Beaver Dam, and the birth of Ankle Rentals was in 2021 then.
Can you tell us about the name Ankle? Yep. Because, for folks that aren't familiar, it's ANKL.
Yep. So okay. It represents my kids, my wife, and myself. So my son Alex, me Nate, my wife Lisa, and my daughter Kaylee.
Really nice. Yep. We're getting to know Nate Soto, who is the owner of Ankle Rentals, and he's with us here this morning on Chamber Chat, Spotlight on local business. So when you talk about those corporate events, this all started needing that tent for your daughter's graduation. So, you're doing events like that, graduations, weddings, corporate events. So I never want to assume anything, but you must have a really nice variety of sizes, like no matter what someone is in need of, it sounds like you would be able to accommodate.
That's correct, yeah. I've got small tents like your pop-up, the 8x8, 10x10, kind of the stuff you see at, tailgating events or sporting events and stuff like that. So those are kind of on the smaller end. And then I've got tents 20 foot by 20 foot up to 20 foot by 40 foot that I can link together and make multiple size tents. So for the corporate events, and when you got, a lot of people, if they're, they're doing a company outing and you're seating up to 200 people, I can put a couple of tents together and make it work for them.
So knowing that ANKL, ANKL, is kind of a family acronym that you just shared, is it just you, or do you have anybody in your family that's helping with the business? You had shared your wife knows the legal side.
They all share a part in it. And it kind of started out with ANKL that it was going to be me and my son doing the side business type thing.
Okay.
And my son got busy with work and with sports, and kind of transitioned out of being available when I needed him. So thankfully, my father-in-law, Bill, has been around and helped me tremendously in terms of the setups and the teardowns and things like that. My wife will come out on occasion when I have to pull her in to help hold a corner or take a tent down. We had one situation here. So the weather really plays a big part in tents. I mean, they end up acting like big kites if you end up with bad weather or anything like that. So there was an evening we were over in Lebanon watching my son play baseball, and we were watching the storms roll in. This was last July, and I had tents set up out at the Beaver Dam Conservation Club for the ham and jam. And as we watched the storms roll in, I mean, we knew things weren't going to be good out there, and we had a lot of straight line winds that day. And so my wife and I got home. We decided to stay home until the storms passed, and then went out there afterwards. So she helps with a lot of the, if we need to clean up or, like I said, hold a corner. And thankfully, we went out there that night, and everything survived the storms, and it was all good. So.
Good. I also noticed some fun things that kids would love on your Facebook page. I saw pictures of some bouncy houses and some cool things like that. Yep. So you do those as well.
So we just started that this year. The bounce house. I've got one of them right now. Looking at getting a couple more. So we do those.
We should have done the show from the bounce house today. That would have been fun. Yeah.
The bounce houses. We've got other things like dance floors for weddings. I've got sidewalls for the tents. I do tables and chairs. Heaters for the tents.
Oh, nice.
Things like that. So even in, a lot of times the events that we're going to, they're worried about the weather, whether it's too sunny and they need shade, or if it's going to be a bad weather day and it's rain and windy. We can help out with that with the sidewalls or the heaters if needed.
That's great, because you need to be prepared and you want your guests to be comfortable. Nate, how can folks get a hold of you at ANKL Rentals?
Yep. So I'm primarily on Facebook. If you look up ANKL Rentals on Facebook, you'll find me out there. You can also reach me on my phone, 920-210-0946. And certainly ask around town. Most everybody knows me and who I am. That's where I get a lot of my work from. I stay plenty busy, just by word of mouth with a lot of this. So
that's fantastic, and we really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to join us here this morning. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and learning about what you do at ANKL Rentals. Thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome.
Nate Soto, owner of ANKL Rentals, with us here this morning on Chamber Chat, Spotlight on Local Business. We are, of course, live on 95.3 WBEV, and we are also live streaming on Daily Dodge TV. Hometown Today presented by Professional Floor Covering, Your Floor, and so much more, and brought to you in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in beautiful, historic downtown Beaver Dam. If you have a loved one that is in an assisted living facility, you can really count on McKinstry's. If you need a lift chair, they have the largest selection of lift chairs in the area. And I've taken a few for a ride. They're actually pretty fun. They have all kinds of different sizes, the big man's chair, the small and petite ones. You will find a size that is just for you, and they start at $695. And these power lift chairs do what they need to do. They're going to help you get up and down with ease, and they have cool add-in features too. Heat and massage. Oh, that sounds really good. Adjustable headrest. Gotta have it. That lumbar support. It is all so very important. So check out the lift chairs that they have at McKinstry's Home Furnishings. Again, the largest selection of lift chairs in the area. McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam, and online at mckinstryshomefurnishings.com. We will get to know our next guest here in just a couple of minutes. Angie Krieger, owner of CMG Home Loans, is with us here this morning for Chamber Chat, Spotlight on Local Business. And we'll also have more chances for you to get qualified for McKinstry's Home Furnishings Right to Win contest. And right here, right now, we have an update for you on sports, weather, local news, and ABC News here on Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Good morning and welcome back to Hometown Today with Chamber Chat, Spotlight on Local Business. Amy Hudson here with you in the Slumberland Furniture Studios. Hometown Today presented by Professional Floor Covering Your Floor and so much more, and brought to you in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in beautiful historic downtown Beaver Dam. And yes, more chances for you to get qualified to participate in McKinstry's Right to Win contest, which is coming up this Saturday already from 9 to 11. So we'll open up the phone lines and also the text lines, giving you chances to get qualified for McKinstry's Right to Win. Big thanks again to Tracy Probst, Executive Director with the Beaver Dam Chamber of Commerce, for helping to pull together and get off the ground our Chamber Chat Spotlight on Local Business. We've met some great folks today, some great local business owners. Nate Soto was just with us. Nate is the owner of Ankle Rentals, and Susan Bauman kicked it all off for us this morning. Susan is the owner of Mind Body OT, and she was, of course, sharing about what she helps people with. And a lot of it, she walked us through this great exercise. So when we're feeling overwhelmed and we're feeling stressful, that we can get through it with help from Susan. And my next guest, Angie Krieger, owner of CMG Home Loans, off mic had said, wow, buying a home can be really stressful. We've got to take a cue from Susan. Like, she can help people through this.
Learn that process, absolutely.
It is very true. So good morning and welcome, Angie.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for being with us here.
Thank you
We
for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Of course, it's our pleasure. So buying a home and going through that process is extremely stressful, whether you have been through it multiple times or not. Every time is different. And it's nice to know that you can have someone who can really go through that process every step of the way. And at CMG Home Loans, you were sharing that you really want to start focusing by educating the home buyers that you're working with and,
Right.
and bring that stress level down, make it easier.
Right. Yeah, I feel like when you're buying a home, there's so much unknown. People always go off of what, my Uncle Larry told me 20 years ago when he bought his house. Things have changed a lot in the mortgage industry, and being with someone who understands all the changes and has helped coach you through that is ideal. So my key focus right now is just helping to educate buyers on what it looks like, what it means, just break everything down piece by piece. So then once you have a true understanding of what you're doing or what your goal is, it makes the process itself a whole lot easier. So things don't feel like such a burden, or you're not as stressed out. So even if we do get that part, we'll call Susan and we'll have Susan help us navigate through how to relax some of those stresses, because it is a big deal. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer or if you've bought in homes before. Everything keeps on changing. So it's just key to kind of know what's going to happen and what everything means, because we can just start saying all these acronyms, everything, people just get overwhelmed,
Yes.
So it's when you break it down on like a consumer level, you're going to see that stress, to kind of ease out of people, and they just relax more than they understand, and they ask better questions, and we kind of just, talk back and forth that way, just to make the process, it's supposed to be fun. So my key is to try and make the process fun, because it's a really exciting time to buy a home, and I love that part of my job, is when we get to that closing table, even if it's a refinance or a purchase, just to see the look on their face if they're refinancing, just the financial relief they may have, whether it was to get a lower rate, to get a lower payment, or to consolidate debt, just to see that relax, and they're saving money per month. Or for people who've been saving and working hard to buy their first home, just to see that success, on their face, just makes everything wonderful.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yes. And it is success, and
Yeah.
so exciting, to work with those first-time home buyers. What is your story, Angie?
Yeah.
Share with us a little bit about you, your background, and what led you to start a business, which can also be stressful. But
Yeah.
tell us about yourself and your background, and what really inspired you to start CMG Home Loans.
Yeah, so before I was even in the mortgage industry, I worked in retail. And then during that time, my fiance at the time, we got married that same year. We bought a house in 2014. We decided that we were done renting. We wanted to buy a house and settle down. We're getting married, starting a family. So we wanted to buy a house, and we just winged it. We just flew in blindly. We had no idea what we were doing.
Oh, no.
So it was terrifying, and we just kept on saying, okay, just nodding along like we knew what they're talking about. We had no idea what they're talking about. So that's kind of what segued me into what I wanted to do. So I was working with the realtor and the lender, and just seeing the excitement of everybody in the room. I was like, I want to do that. I want to give someone the feeling I have right now buying my first house. So that's kind of what segued me from leaving retail and going straight into the banking industry. I guess I went right into banking. I started as a teller, worked my way up from there because I knew my goal was to get into mortgage, but I wanted to start on the ground level just to get into the door, and then work my way up from there. So ever since then, I've been in the mortgage industry because my ultimate goal from when I first started was I want to educate people so when they go into buying a house, they don't fly blindly like I did. They understand what they're doing and they understand what things mean. So when they get their mortgage statements or they get their tax bills, they know what all of that stuff means and what escrow is, because I had no idea.
There's a lot that is constantly being pelted
Yeah.
at a new home buyer, and even for folks that have been through the process before, things change. To your point, and when you talked about you and your fiance feeling the way that you did, at the start of that process, I can already tell like you've got this spunk about you, like nope, not having that,
not
it's gonna
happening
help
again.
some others.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
not a good feeling, and you can't. You don't want to get caught off guard by something that you don't understand when it comes to buying a home,
right,
and your finances and what is where, because there are a lot of moving pieces.
Right, and the thing is that buying a house is going to be one of the biggest financial obligations you might make, in your adult life. So understanding what you're doing is going to be key. It's not just going out and buying a car. You're paying $200,000+ for a house. So understanding what all those key parts are, and feeling confident that you're making the right choice is really key. So it's kind of what stemmed me from where I was, and I started off in the banking industry, and then gravitated more towards a mortgage company. So we're not a bank, we're a mortgage lender. So we offer a wide variety of mortgage loan programs. But what led me to where I am now is Beaver Dam, or just Dodge County as a whole, is very small. It's still a small community. Even though it seems very large, it's a very small community. And people here really need help and guidance in the home buying process. A lot of people just don't understand what it is, and not everybody fits in that box, the cookie cutter box where everything is, one size fits all. So working with a mortgage company, it gives me the options to help pretty much everybody, which is what I really like, is we have loan programs for anybody's needs, whether first self-employed borrowers, first-time home buyers. We have everything to help get them in the home. So it's kind of nice to have a wide variety. I went from knowing 5 products, knowing over 100. So
wow.
it was quite the change, quite the learning curve.
That's a big difference.
So, but to have that option really opened out my portfolio, so now I can really give that education, that guidance to people who really need it the most, which was my ultimate goal for my career.
Well, and knowing that you're a Dodge County native,
Yep.
it probably makes things more special being able to help people with this where you're from.
Right. Yeah, because I grew up in Dodge County. I've been here my entire life. We bought our first house in Mayville, and then we sold it and bought a house in Iron Ridge. So I've gone through the first-time home buyer process. I've gone through the selling process, the second home process. So I've been through all the processes.
So much process.
So I've seen it, and even as loan officers are going through it, knowing what's going to happen, it's still a lot. So it's just going through it firsthand. You really understand what your borrowers need. So I think that's key too.
Angie Krieger, owner of CMG Home Loans, is with us here this morning on Chamber Chat, Spotlight on Local Business here on Hometown Today. Amy Hudson here, along with Angie in the Slumberland Furniture Studios. How do people find you? How do they get in touch with you? And what should they be prepared for when it comes to that first meeting with you?
Yeah, so I'm always available via text or phone call. My cell phone number is 920-210-9800. Super simple. I love it. So call, text anytime. I'm available. Nights, weekends, holidays, whenever people need me, I'm there for them. I'm working on growing a social media platform as well. So people can follow me on social media at the Crafty Mortgage Pro.
Anything else that you would like to share with us this morning?
And I know. I don't know. It's just, my key is if anybody has any questions, concerns, whether it's their first time buying a house or if you're just first graduating high school or college and just think you want to buy a house in the future but don't know where to start, just reach out to me. I'm happy to help. If it's 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, it's never too soon to start learning how to buy a house.
Excellent. And you are just the person to help people with
Thank
that.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Angie Krieger, owner of CMG Home Loans, with us here this morning for Chamber Chat, Spotlight on Local Business. Thank you again to Angie, to Nate Soto, owner of Ankle Rentals, And we also welcomed in our first guest here this morning, Susan Bauman, owner of Mind Body OT. She had to see a patient this morning, so we put her at the start of the show. And I would also again like to thank Tracy Probst, Executive Director with the Beaver Dam Chamber of Commerce, for helping us to get things together for Chamber Chat Spotlight on local business. Keeps Dodge County strong, keeps our hometown strong, and we certainly appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much, Angie.
Yes,
It was nice
thank
to
you
meet
so much. You
You're
too.
welcome. Oh my goodness, we have more hometown today, and this is now I'm kind of passing the baton because Justin the Ninja Wilski will be in with you for the second half of Hometown Today here on your hometown station. Still going to the movies. Ninja taking us to the movies on Hometown Today. Charlie will be joining him for that, and also Randy with Professional Floor Covering will be calling in right around 10:30. So we'll get the update as to what is happening at Professional Floor Covering. I know that they're gearing up for their big May gold tag sales, so maybe Randy has some little teases about that. Right here, right now, we are going to get you qualified for McKinstry's Home Furnishings Right to Win contest. So some great prizes up for grabs for you to win. That 4-pack of Milwaukee baseball tickets, $166 as McKinstry's Home Furnishings celebrates their 166th anniversary, and the big one, the $500 shopping spree at McKinstry's Home Furnishings. So you have to get qualified before you can participate. So we'll get you qualified here. Feel free to call the studio line at 885-4446, 885-4446, and you can also text at 887-9595. Again, the text line is 887-9595. We get you qualified, and then we will see you at McKinstry's Home Furnishings this Saturday between 9 and 11. Okay, it's all coming together to celebrate McKinstry's 166th anniversary. So you show up at some point between 9 and 11 after you get qualified, and you pick a pen, and you're going to doodle, you're going to scribble, you're going to write with it, because we need to see the color of ink in the pen. That is what determines whether or not you are a big winner. So good luck. Let's get you qualified. Again, the studio line, 885-4446, and the text line, 887-9595. Amy Hudson here in the Slumberland Furniture Studios for Hometown Today, presented by Professional Floor Covering, your floor, and so much more, and brought to you in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in beautiful historical downtown Beaver Dam.
And hello, welcome back to Hometown Today. I'm Ninja. This is Charlie. Obviously, you can see us, which is always a good thing. Yeah. And it occurs to me, I don't even have all my documentation in front of me because the swap out here was not as clean as we'd like it to be.
We'll work on it.
Charlie, I'm gonna let you start talking. I'm gonna grab something from my desk. I'll be right back.
Okay.
A little inside baseball for you.
I've got I could pull up the document you sent me. We're talking movies. I'm here to talk movies with Ninja. There's a bunch that we can talk about, Justin, and I'm not sure where you wanted to start, but I did see Civil War on Tuesday of this week. That's the new movie. Alex Garland, I believe, is the director's name. So that's Kirsten Dunst was in that. Jesse Plemons was in that. Nick Offerman's in it, and he's billed as being like a big part of the movie, but he's in, I think, 2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah, barely in it.
And one of them, I wasn't sure if it was like, I enjoyed the movie because it wasn't political. So it's called Civil War. So you kind of think that they're going to get political as to how this happened, but instead they drop you off, and it's not a spoiler, they drop you off close to the end of the said Civil War. So it's really not too big of a... They don't give you any context as to how it happened, as to how they got here, who's the good guys, who's the bad guys. It's kind of all just no context, which I enjoyed.
Okay. Well, before we get into that, and we definitely want to dive into that, we do want to take a moment to acknowledge Jeans Beaver Floral. They manage your schedule, fend off intrusions, sort, answer your calls. They're administrative professionals. No one is just a secretary any longer. They keep you ahead of the game, whatever the title, and you know who they are, so remember them. April 22nd through the 26th is Administrative Professional or Secretaries Week. Say thanks with the For All You Do bouquet from Jeans Beaver Floral with seasonal flowers in a colorful reusable glass vase. Or put a smile on their face and a pat on their back with the Smile Mug Bouquet, a bright yellow mug filled with long-lasting flowers of the season. Jeans Beaver Floral has small growing dish gardens and bud vases. Call Jeans Beaver Floral at 885-3365 for Administrative Professionals and Secretaries Week. Check out the floral gifts in all price ranges and let your office assistants know how special they are. Located at 125 North Spring Street, Beaver Dam. Okay, so normally we start off the show by diving into what's coming out in theaters and so on and so forth. But before we do that, I want to touch on, because you said you mentioned you went and saw Civil War.
Yep.
And the production studio did something with this movie that I feel is timely, but I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Okay.
They took a story that is very kind of a view of what's going on in the world right now. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of division in this country politically.
Right.
And they said, let's go ahead and make a movie about it. And it's going to be about it, but not about it. We're going to leave it intentionally vague. The trailers that came out for this movie made it look not like the movie is. Like they were intentionally deceiving.
Yep.
I expected that this is something where you'd walk into it and you would immediately find yourself going, oh, this is what's happening right now. This is neighbor against neighbor. You know, this is, a modern day civil war, And I guess that's happening somewhere in the background, somewhere in the story, but it's not even close. It becomes a embedded media, storyline.
It's a movie about war photographers
Right.
at the end of the day, yeah.
Which, I mean, if you were somebody like myself who would have been walking into that expecting to see a different film, are you going to walk out disappointed, or are you going to feel like you were still entertained?
I was definitely entertained. I was not disappointed by the movie. I was very happy with it because,
Okay.
like an example, not a spoiler, Texas and California are an alliance in the movie, and in our current political state, that's
Right.
kind of that doesn't feel like it could happen.
I mean, you can't expect all those hippy-dippy people in Hollywood to get in line with Texas. That's not happening.
Exactly. So then the idea of them being together was that they're overcoming their differences because they're fighting whatever they think is the greater evil. So there was a lot of stuff like that where it was like it was not, they stayed far away from politics as they could. So I enjoyed that part of it. And then as a journalist, I studied journalism in college. I took a couple photography classes. There was a lot of like things that I saw or learned in classes that were then in that movie from a journalism and photography perspective.
Okay.
And I enjoyed that part. I don't know how many like non-journalism students would appreciate that side of the movie.
I was
but
a visual journalism student myself, so I'm right there with you. I understand.
Right. And then I would say, and then they just also focused on a lot of the psychology of people that go into war, civilians or photographers and that kind of nature. It's all of that dressed up in a modern Civil War movie. They could have picked any country. They could have picked any time era, really. It could have been any time. They just chose to do something in the future instead of the past, like normal movies.
I mean, I guess that is probably the right setting to choose. I do know we have to take a quick break here at the top of the hour, or I shouldn't say top of the hour. We're still at the top of the hour. We do have to take a quick break. Before we do, I just want to leave this thought out there. I'm not sure I want to know what would cause the type of civil war that would have California and Texas ally so closely.
That's true.
That scares me. That's like Godzilla level kaiju event or something to make that happen. So I'm very curious as to what that could have been. We are going to take a quick break here on Hometown Today, of course, brought to you by our fine friends over there, Professional Floor Covering, and in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings. If you haven't had a chance to make your way over to see Randy and the guys, please do so. I believe he'll be calling in later in the show. Hopefully we'll find out what he's been up to lately. But let's go ahead and take that break. We'll be right back on Hometown Today.
From Professional Floor Covering, you're listening to Hometown Today on the 5,000 watt flamethrower on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Ooh, the opening's playing again. 5,000 watt flamethrower on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Ooh, the opening's playing again. 5,000 watt flamethrower on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Oh, this is the movie music.
Yeah, the movie music.
Hometown Today takes you to the movies with Ninja
Huge shout out to
and
Jake.
Hudson.
That's Jake's voice?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
On your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
I absolutely love that opening. He did such a great job. It's so early Hollywood, and I love it 100%. That's right. You are here on Hometown Today. Amy bugging out from the first hour. She did a great job with the chamber on for the first hour. But now you're stuck with me and Charlie as we talk about movies. I think out of everybody here in the office, you're probably the second biggest movie buff, I think, here.
Second fiddle.
Right. And, well, I don't know if I'd say second fiddle. I mean, you're very new to the cinema world,
True.
really.
True.
But you've taken to it with such a gusto that I'm so proud of, I must say. So now you get to be subject to walking through, essentially, our going to the movies segment with me. And we're going to start like we always do. We're going to talk about new movies that are hitting theaters. The very first one is one I'm super excited about. The cast list on this is huge. Henry Cavill, Alan Richardson, Alex Pettyfer, Eliza Gonzalez, Carrie Elwes, which is great. Directed by Guy Ritchie. I mean, that alone is already enough of a, I got to go see this movie.
Right.
It's called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It is rated R, so if you're looking for this to be your family flick to take your kids to, don't. It is 2 hours long, so it's going to be a good length of time, which for Guy Ritchie, 2 hours long is about average. Action, drama, war film. I don't know if you've seen the trailers for this.
Oh, I have.
It looks amazing.
It looks right up my alley.
Yeah, action-packed. And I was already excited to see this movie, and then I watched a interview where Henry Cavill came on to Jimmy Kimmel. And, of course, they spent a couple of minutes talking about how Henry Cavill's a giant freaking nerd, and he's really kind of won the genetic lottery because he looks so amazing, but he's also a complete and utter dork. Mm-hmm. So if you're, into really good-looking guys, you're going to love him. If you're into dorky guys, you're going to love him. And he is really big into this role. What I didn't know is the character he's playing, Gus March Phillips, is actually the real-life inspiration for James Bond.
Oh, wow.
He served alongside Ian Fleming in this group of people, which expanded more after World War II, which are essentially the start of the British Secret Service.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I guess they were both writing a book or had ideas to write a book about him and about a secret agent. But unfortunately, Gus March Phillips died shortly after World War II and never got around to making the book a book. Ian Fleming, however, turned it into a series of books. And of course, now we've had everything we've seen from the James Bond series. But yeah, that alone makes me go, okay, this is like a pre-Bond Bond.
It's amazing how that works. Yeah, and anything with the U-boats. Have you ever been to? That's not a spoiler. That's in the trailer.
It is in the trailer. There are U-boats in the trailer.
Have you ever been to Chicago and seen the German U-boat that they have?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I can see how those would be scary and intimidating in the water. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I'm super excited by this one. The trailer looks amazing. I have become recently a huge fan of Alan Richardson from his work on Reacher. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't know, he is a giant of a man. Henry Cavill has even said he's bigger than him.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Have you seen pictures of them next to each other?
I have not, and I
Alan
feel like
Richardson
I need to look them up.
Towers over Henry Cavill.
That's amazing. So yeah. Just another one of those films. I can't believe I'm kicking the desk now. One of those films, I'm so excited that I'm going to have to see in theaters. I have to. Big screen. I don't know when it'll be happening, but that's hitting theaters this weekend. So expect me there maybe for a $5 Tuesday because those are the best days to see movies.
Yep.
Moving on from that one because we could talk about that one for hours. I'm going to get into this next one. It's a comedy film. It's PG-13 comedy, hour and 42 minutes long. It's called Villains, Inc. This one was not on my radar for a while until I saw that one of the stars in it is Colin Mockery of Whose Line Is It Anyways fame. He's hilarious. I've seen him at cons before. He's such a down-to-earth guy. But this essentially follows three henchmen who, unfortunately, the villain they're working for apparently dies or is somehow incapacitated. I mean, the trailer doesn't really give a lot of details, but they decide, well, maybe we could be supervillains. And that is probably going to contain all the hilarity you would expect it to.
It reminds me a lot of Despicable Me.
Yes.
Villain Con and all that, where all these villains, it's like everybody knows that there's villains and heroes in the world, and I enjoy that kind of thing, especially like with the way that Marvel movies are going and DC movies, where I like this different take on superheroes and supervillains.
A little more reserved. It has me thinking not necessarily as dark and gritty as, like The Watchmen or some of those other ones where they kind of bring that world together. It's definitely going to be more lighthearted. As I have here in my notes, I'm not going to see this as being a box office smash. No. It's not going to make, millions and millions of dollars. It's not going to rank up there in the $1 billion, tights and whatever superhero movies. But I think it's going to be good for some laughs. It's probably going to make back its budget plus. And if nothing else, exposes a few more people to some good comedians who maybe aren't getting the big roles.
It definitely seems like it has a sense of humor, and it's like laughing at itself. It's not a serious movie.
Which with a good comedy, it always should laugh at itself. The next one we're going to feature here before we have to take our next break. This is another one that's going to be a comedy. It's an action-adventure comedy. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It kind of looks a little bit tongue-in-cheek, a little campy. It's called Sasquatch Sunset. It is rated R. So again, don't take your family to it if you think it's going to be a fun little cute family Sasquatch movie. It's not. An hour and 29 minutes long. It follows a family of Sasquatches in a year of the life of being a Sasquatch. If you watch the trailer,
Yeah.
it's funny, but at the same time, you're like, this feels, in many ways, it's got some kind of like Wes Anderson kind of esque humor going for it. The costuming looks pretty good. The cast list, it's got Michael Cera in it, I believe. It's not the biggest box office thriller cast list, but it's got some names that are known for doing some funny stuff and being willing to put themselves out there.
Yeah, it's a Jesse Eisenberg movie.
Yeah,
and
that's it, yeah.
So that's kind of what makes me nervous, is that he can be really weird.
I always confuse him and Michael Cera.
Yeah,
Is that weird?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
They're
I think
almost the same guy.
Yeah, I think he's a weirdo.
He is,
He's
and
intense.
he takes on a lot of weird roles.
Yeah.
He's kind of the comedy version of like a Shia LaBeouf, where he'll kind of do almost anything if the paycheck's the right size and you let him be a little goofy. So
Yeah, this one, I don't think there's any dialogue in it. I don't think there's going to be. I think it's just Sasquatch noises, like
Yeah.
Chewbacca's talking to each other.
right.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe there'll be some subtext or something they slip in there. Whether that's something I could sit and watch for an hour and a half, I don't know.
I think I could, but I think when I watched the trailer, I wrote down, I think this is a movie I watch once and never again.
Right. And I feel like it's a movie I watch once and I watch it probably at home.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something that I need to see on the giant IMAX screen. I could probably perfectly be fine watching it on my 65-inch TV at home.
I've been going to movies alone, and
Okay.
I've found that I really enjoy it. Just throwing your phone away, sitting in the dark by yourself. That could be a good one to go to by myself.
It very well could be, absolutely. And
Make me
based
feel
on what I've
something.
seen from the trailer, you may be alone in that theater anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a possibility. I have to ask, is there a seat in the theater that's your go-to seat?
I always try and go further back, like 2/3 back to the left. A little bit to the left. I don't need to be right down the middle. But yeah, I'd say I think I was row H or M.
Why to the
when I was
left?
there. I don't know. I feel like that's where I always end up, is a little bit to the left, not to the right. I don't know why.
You haven't adopted that, I have to be 3 rows back, dead center kind of thing?
Well, I guess when I'm going by myself, I'm not buying in advance. So when it's a Tuesday, a $5 Tuesday, and I'm getting there at the time that the show's coming out or the movie's coming or showing, I'm late and people are there. And so then I'm buying what I
Okay.
can. So it's always typically a little further back to the left.
I see. I'm old school theater where you got to get there ahead of time. You got to make sure you get your seat picked out. I'm usually in my seat 20 minutes before the film starts with my popcorn already half eaten, soda half drank, just ready to go.
There were a half hour of previews at Civil War.
I'm not at all surprised.
Half hour.
I do have to put this out there. I love this. Our good friend Wade Bates texted me and called Jesse Eisenberg the Crispin Glover of his generation.
Okay.
And that is probably the most accurate description I have ever heard. We do have to take a quick break here on Hometown Today. When we come back, we're going to continue on with our movie talk. And I believe we're also expecting a phone call from our good friend Randy from Professional Floor Covering. If you haven't made your way over there, again, you definitely need to do so. Take the time. Get your hands out there, feel the countertops, feel the quartz, feel the carpet. Take your shoes off. Tell Randy I said it's okay. I'm sure he'll be fine with it. Feel that carpeting under your feet. The only thing you shouldn't feel is all the stuff they've sharpened in Pro Edge sharpening, because we don't want you to cut yourself. That would be bad. We will be back with more Hometown Today here on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Hi, this is Randy, owner of Professional Floor Covering, and you're listening to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today, brought to you by our friends there, Professional Floor Covering, and in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in Beaver Dam. The Thirsty Beaver is looking to have you swing on by. Thirsty Beaver Thursdays at 500 Madison Street in Beaver Dam, or you can check them out, thirstybeaverdd.com. Why? Well, for one, there's bags leagues going on. You can sign up today in person at the Thirsty Beaver or at their website, again, thirstybeaverdd.com. You can also send them an email or a Facebook message. League meeting is Tuesday, May 21st at 6 p.m. League's going to run from June 4th through August 27th. If you're not going to make it over there for Thirsty Thursdays at the Thirsty Beaver, then by all means, you should check them out for their weekend entertainment. This Friday, DJ Ryan at 8 p.m., and Saturday, Jay Langston from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's at the Thirsty Beaver. And check out that back patio they got there. My goodness. Love it.
When my first time coming to Beaver Dam, it was Best Dam Fest, my mom and I, so we had to stop by the Thirsty Beaver.
Right.
And they had the bags tournament going on there, and everybody was outside. It looked awesome.
I feel like that's one of those go-tos because, I mean, the word beaver's right in the name, Beaver Dam. Like, why wouldn't you stop? But yeah, being out back with a cool drink, looking out over the water, you know, or you can even pull up with your boat, which is kind of cool too. So something to think about if you're out there on the water.
Yeah, there was the water ski, the muskies.
The muskies, yeah.
They were going on in the background. It was a beautiful day.
Well, you picked like the perfect time. No wonder you wanted to come work here.
Right. It was a great day
boy.
to go. Yeah, it worked out.
I don't think we planned that, but we should have. Well, we are continuing our conversation about movies, and we got two more movies that are going to be hitting theaters this weekend that we'd like to talk about. The next one is called Hard Miles. This is a PG-13 film. It's 1 hour and 48 minutes long, and it is considered a drama/sport flick. I know you're a sports guy, so maybe this will be a little bit up your alley. The movie follows a prison social worker who decides to assemble a team of cyclists from a bunch of teenage convicts, and he ends up taking them on a 1,000-mile ride that's supposed to be life-changing for them. It's inspired by a real-life story of a gentleman named Greg Townsend and the Ridgeview Academy cycling team. It's got Sean Astin in it, which I feel like he's in it mostly as a name. And at this point, he's got enough money and he's done enough with his life that he can kind of pick and choose what he wants to do. And it's got Matthew Modine in it as well. The trailers for this look like it's one of those like feel-good sports flicks. And being rated PG-13, I'm sure the PG-13 rating probably comes from the fact that they're teenage convicts, maybe a little language, and I'm sure there's going to be some frustrational, violent moments, but nothing that should be overwhelming.
I feel like we could put a Hometown Today guarantee that it's going to have a happy ending.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If we had a way to put that stamp up on the screen right now on Daily Dodge TV, we would. Definitely going to have a happy ending. This was one where it hasn't got a lot of television trailer play. I imagine the cost for making this movie was probably not astronomical. I mean, how much can it cost to get a couple of bikes? You know, it probably cost them more to get, Sean Astin on there than it did for all the bikes that they had. But it looks like it'll be a fun one. So if you're looking for something that's going to be even remotely close to being family-friendly-ish, this is probably the one to go to out of all of them that are available. The next film, and this one, like, I can't say enough about it. I love horror films. Okay. Big fan of horror films. Those who know me know I do a 31 Days of Halloween every year where I'll watch different horror flicks plus some classics, and I love the genre. And I love when horror flicks come out at a time when it doesn't feel like it should be time for horror. Like everybody expects, like, oh, horror films come out around Halloween. No, horror films come out at Christmas, around Easter, and for some reason in the middle of the summer. And it's crazy, but it always happens, and you get some really interesting stuff. This one combines some of my favorite kind of tropes in films. One, the unseen reverse, but they tell you about it in the trailer. For those who don't know, this is a rated R film. It's called Abigail. It's an hour and 49 minutes long. It is a horror thriller. And essentially, the trailer even, like, this isn't a spoiler. The trailer shows you this. Group of kidnappers kidnap a little girl. They take her someplace. They're told, hey, keep her here till morning, and then you get paid. Sounds like a simple job, right?
Simple enough. You're told 24 hours. Giancarlo Esposito is the one that gives them the instructions. 24 hours.
Which you should know not to trust him anyways, right? But, yeah, 24 hours, and then you get paid. Easy enough. Little girl. How hard could it be? Then, in the trailer, suddenly the house shuts down. They can't get out. They're trapped inside. And you're thinking, oh, well, the little girl's trapped inside with them. There's no way that they could fail this. Oh, no, wait. They're trapped inside with her. they make it pretty clear that this little girl's a vampire.
A ballerina vampire.
Ballerina vampire, which I don't know why, but that does make it creepier. I am so looking forward to this film. I mean, out of all of them that are coming out, it is the second one on the list that I definitely want to see. First is going to be the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Then it's going to be Abigail. I may see them in a back-to-back feature just to knock them both out. It could have some moments that make you say afterwards, like, all right, now I need to go watch a comedy film or something to feel better.
It did look kind of funny, though.
It does. It does look like there's some funny moments. It's not being penned out there as a comedy horror, though. It's really supposed to come across more as a thriller. The cast list is not like a who's who of big names. It's a lot of smaller up-and-coming actors who've gone from TV to movie recently. So it's a great chance for them to kind of, show what they've got. And horror films have been known to do that for years. So I'm curious as to how it goes and how it pans out.
Lots of familiar faces that you don't know their name.
Yes.
Like, oh, who is that? And then you got to look it up, and then you're like, oh, yeah, I've seen them and stuff.
Yeah, and then you
A lot
find
of
out
those
that they've
people.
been in an episode of CSI or Law & Order like everybody else has.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This didn't seem like it's going to be an actual scary movie. When you were saying it's more of a thriller, I think that's exactly right. I don't think this is going to be like a horrifying
No,
movie.
I think it's going to have some predictable jump scares,
Yeah.
which we know is a thing. I think it's going to have some predictable moments where you're sitting back and you're saying to yourself, no, you don't want to go into that closet. You don't want to open that door. No, don't separate. Stay together. And, you're going to feel way smarter about the bad choices they're making. But I feel like if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of vampire movies, you're going to like this film.
Hasn't this movie already been made, though? Like, this isn't... There's nothing original about this movie. It's just like Megan that came out, last year?
Right.
It's very similar.
Right. It's got a similar feel.
A lot of haunted house movies are very similar.
They love to take the innocent, oh, it's just a little girl, it's just a kid, it's just a baby, it's just a whatever, and turn it on its head and scare you. But sometimes I think that's what makes horror effective, is to take something that we feel is like the least scary thing on the planet, and it, makes you need to change your shorts.
Sometimes it's a ballerina vampire.
Sometimes it's a ballerina vampire. We do have to take our bottom of the hour break for local news. When we come back, I believe we're going to have Randy from Professional Floor Covering on the line. And then we're going to look ahead for what's leaving theaters and what may be coming up in the future. You are listening to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
bringing together friends and neighbors on Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Ooh, what a song to come back to. Little Hold Me Now. You know who I'd like to be helping me hold something right now? Maybe holding a nice piece of Stanton carpeting. Randy from Professional Floor Covering. Randy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, Randy, I keep telling everybody they got to make their way over there and kick off the shoes, take off the gloves, feel the countertops, feel the real wood you've got there on your cabinets, run their toes over some of that wonderful carpeting you have, maybe even on the tile. Is that okay?
Well, I had a guy come in. I heard you say that, and a guy came in and he took his shoes off, and oh my God, it was not pretty. I don't know if that's a great idea.
Okay, so maybe keep the shoes on, but at least
I'm just kidding. Nobody. But no, yes, if you want to sink your toes into something soft, oh my God, this stuff it's unbelievably how soft carpet has gotten in the last few years. I mean, they've really done a nice job of making it durable, but yet soft.
And I've discovered in my lifetime, I've been around for, 40 years, and in my lifetime, I've discovered that you can tell sometimes by touch quality in a product. If you walk over to a cabinet door and you close that cabinet door and it feels like you could have ripped it off Superman style, it's probably not quality. If you feel like you could put your kitchen knife through your countertop, it's probably not quality. If the carpet feels like you could use it as an abrasive to sand your wood, probably not quality, right? But I walk over there and the countertops you have, I talk about the quartz countertops all the time because they're beautiful. The cabinetry you guys offer, the carpet you guys offer, the tile you guys offer, everything is such amazing quality.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing we're going to do when you come in here. We'll show you the difference between quality and not quality. We want to get you the right product for the right room. I mean, the lower end products, they have a place, but you need to make sure you're putting them in the right place where they're not going to be. You'll be disappointed in a couple of years and back at the starting point again, having to spend the money all over again to get it done properly. But yeah, I mean, there is a huge difference between carpet. I mean, quality of carpet. It starts on a really low end apartment carpet, and it moves up to a really, really high end living room quality carpet. There's products that are made for bedrooms. There's products made for living rooms. There's products made for super high traffic office. There's products made for maybe a lower traffic basement. You got to get the right product in the right room, or you will be disappointed in no time.
Now, I know you had been talking recently with us about some like carpet square type options for those more business type settings, where if you have a spot that maybe gets damaged, you can swap it out with another square. Where putting it down might be a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that's one thing that's really changed over the course of the years. You used to glue down a lot of broadloom carpet, which would be like 12-foot wide regular carpeting. Now most of that stuff is made on a thermal bonded back carpet tile. You know what that means? It's like a piece of rubber, and they puff that yarn into that rubber, and it's impossible for it to pull out. So that enables them to put a loop product onto a carpet square, put the carpet squares in the room, and they don't fray out, they don't unravel, and it looks like $1 million.
So the ease of installation is there, but you get something that's going to be a good durable quality as well.
Right. Well, they'll wear like iron, and they really hold up well. And they're simple, very simple to change out. If you get a spot on it or something that, you need to change, maybe a super high traffic area starts looking rough after a while, pull a few squares out, put a couple more in, and you're back to brand new again.
Now, I want to bring up another thing that I know you guys do over there, Professional Floor Covering, and I thought about this specifically recently because we've had a lot of rain, which when you have children, they love to go outside and run around in the rain and jump in every puddle imaginable, and then they walk into my house and they walk across my floors and they leave a trail. And I keep thinking, man, I need to put an area rug right there by the door, something they can leave their shoes on, something they can walk across, something that, will fit the space. And it's kind of an awkward space, but you guys can help with that.
Oh, yeah. Different options for that. I do. I was just down in Georgia a couple weeks ago, and I bought back a bunch of area rugs, like some smaller ones. I think they're 5x7s. Them work really well in an entryway. Drop your shoes on, yet they're very nice looking. Otherwise, we've got all kinds of different things. We've even got little 18x27 samples here for like $1. If you wanted to set that by your door, a couple pairs of shoes fit on there, no problem. Dog dish fits on there, no problem. Things like that. There's something for everybody in here.
So really that means we just got to make our way over there to 713 Park Avenue and check out everything you've got going on at Professional Floor Covering. Let everybody know how we can get a hold of you, when you guys are open.
We are open Monday through Friday, 9 till 5, Tuesday and Thursday, 9 till 6. And www.proflr.com or 887-9972.
Awesome. Well, Randy, I want to thank you for taking the time to call in and check with us today. And I may have to come over and see you about an area rug for that entryway because at this point, if my wife makes me have to mop it one more time, I might go nuts.
Yeah, you should come and look. I've got some really, really, really good ones from my friends at United Weavers. They are really nice looking, and they're really inexpensive.
All right, I'll come over, and I promise I'll try and keep my shoes on.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks, Randy. That's
All right,
Randy with
have a good
Professional
day.
Floor Covering here in Beaver Dam. Again, from inspiration to installation, you need to go check them out. It occurs to me I should have asked him if he ever put carpet in at like a movie theater.
Oh.
Because that carpet,
yeah.
I imagine, has to be super durable for how much it gets vacuumed and the amount of popcorn and candy that's get ground into it.
Soda spilled on it.
How it can, even when it's brand new, somehow it's sticky, which I don't fully understand. But all right, well, let's continue on with our movie talk here on Hometown Today. This is the part that's always kind of sad. We're going to talk about movies that are probably going to be leaving theaters soon. As most people know, most movies sit in theaters for about 45 days, give or take, depending on how well they're performing. The three that are on this list are actually performing very well, so they're more than likely going to be around for at least another week, but they should be on your radar that if it's something you really wanted to see on the big screen, now's a good time to go because they are getting reduced time slots coming up in this next week. Which is always unfortunate because a lot of times they get pushed to like that weird 9 o'clock slot, or it's like only at 11 a.m. to go see this movie or whatever. The first one is family friendly. Kung Fu Panda, the newest one. I think it's 4 or 5 or 12
4.
or 4. Yeah, that's it. Rated PG. It's going to be a fun one for the family. If you've seen any of the Kung Fu Pandas, you know what you're in for. You know, it's going to be family fun all around. The adults are going to love it because there's going to be some jokes in there that are probably for you. But the kids are definitely going to love it as well.
The Furious 5 are back. They brought back the whole cast from the original 4.
Oh, really? Oh, hey.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the first 3. I remember seeing the first one in theaters. I don't think
What were you,
at
6?
this point, probably, yeah. It was probably elementary school, middle school range. Yeah, I don't think I'll see this one in theaters, but I'll definitely watch it. I gotta watch all of them if I've seen them.
course.
If I've seen the first 3, gotta keep going.
That's how it works. And I'll use the excuse of my children so that I can watch it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Or I'll be like, it's a Jack Black film, of course. So got to watch it. The next one, this one surprised me a little bit that it's making the list, but it's also hitting streaming here. Dune Part 2. Saw this in theaters, saw the first one in theaters. It's PG-13. Really good film.
Awesome.
Just
Awesome.
cinematically beautiful.
Yeah.
We could talk about this film for probably hours. And who knows, maybe after the third one comes out and we've both seen it, we'll sit down and we'll talk about all 3 as a collection and really break it down. But that one is probably going to be nearing its end date as well. We've got some big blockbusters coming up down the road that are probably going to bump this to lesser and lesser times, especially because it is kind of a long movie. So they like to free up that movie screen time for other flicks.
That one you got to see in theaters, though.
Yeah, you really should.
Your first time seeing Dune 2 should be in theaters.
Right. I think for all 3 chapters, it should be in theaters. And I would not be surprised if after the third one releases, if we start seeing a 1, 2, 3 series where you go in and watch all of them back to back to back. You know, Lord of the Rings-esque, but it won't take 12 hours.
Yeah, after I saw that one, I came and told you, see that on the biggest screen you can.
Oh, yeah, and I did.
Okay.
I did, and my wife hated me for it because she was like, oh, you went too far forward my neck, and I'm like, oh, it was glorious. The next one, this one, another one, PG-13 as well, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. This one is right about hitting that 45-day mark. It could stick around for another 2 weeks because, you know, it's not like there's a lot of super big family-friendly films hitting, and it's good to keep at least 1 or 2 of them in theaters at all times because kids are a draw, and so I would expect that one to hold on for a little bit longer. But at the same time, if you want to see it on the big screen, and I feel like you might. I mean, when you're bringing back Bill Murray, you know, Dan Aykroyd, you kind of feel like you need to see it on the big screen.
Seems like an epic movie that they got to let that franchise go, though. Like, just move on.
I mean, maybe.
We're good.
Maybe. You think so?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think they need... I mean, they're going to do it for, like, every generation now of kids.
Oh, of
They're going to
course.
keep doing them, but...
Yeah, I mean, you
all
have
right.
to. I mean, at this point, it's no different than the Transformers movies. Like, you could have stopped after 2.
Yeah.
But no, they've got like 4 more Beast Wars ones planned. It's crazy. New on video and streaming. This is an important list for those people who don't go to the theater. Dogman. This one is now hitting digital and video on demand. It's still having some limited release in theaters. This is a Luc Besson directed film. People probably know him from The Fifth Element and Leon the Professional, which are both phenomenal films.
Leon's really good.
Oh, such an amazing film. And this one, I have a really cursory description here saying it's about a man, his traumatic childhood, and the dogs that are his salvation. It goes way deeper than that.
Is this Mark Wahlberg?
It's, no.
Okay.
No, it's not. That's King Arthur, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit different. This one, basically, the guy is an outcast, a reject of society, and everybody kind of makes fun of him. He's had a very traumatic childhood, and then he finds some stray dogs. He starts collecting them, and the dogs end up kind of being his protectors and his defenders as he seeks out salvation and revenge. So maybe worth watching. If you can find it in theaters, might be worth the big screen, but it's now, again, hitting digital and video on demand. As I previously mentioned, also hitting video on demand and premium digital. That's going to mean you got to have, like, you know, HBO plus Max 3.0 or something, is going to be Dune Part 2. So it is out there on some streaming services here starting. The actual release on DVD isn't scheduled for it, or on video isn't scheduled until May 14th. So there is a window before you'll be able to purchase it and own it there. But you can definitely find it on a few of those premium digital streaming sites. Again, though, go see it in theaters. Definitely go see it in theaters.
Definitely.
And I was surprised this one's hitting digital and video on demand already because it literally just hit theaters like last week. And that's Asphalt City. That is the gritty crime drama film. I don't even know if I want to call it a crime drama. It's kind of a drama thriller. It's got Sean Penn starring as a aging New York City paramedic on the night shift who takes on a new rookie partner, and it goes through their kind of night-to-night activities and all the drama that happens being a paramedic in New York City.
That sounds like a big cable movie.
It does sound like a big cable movie, which is probably why it's now hitting digital and video on demand so quickly. Sean Penn, one of those actors, great actor, but I feel like his box office draw has dropped. I don't know if he's just aged out of the category or if he hasn't kept as relevant, but yeah, he's kind of dropped out a little bit. Looking ahead for some stuff coming up. Let's start with April 26th. I don't know if you've seen the trailers for this, but Challengers.
I have.
It's a Zendaya flick. She's the driver of this one.
Yeah.
Go see the trailer.
Yeah.
If you liked Zendaya, if you remember her from her stint on the Disney Channel, which my kids definitely do.
Shake It Up.
Yep, Shake It Up. If you remember that, and you try and reconcile her character there with her character in this, it is night and day difference.
What do you? I don't know about that.
It really is. Because I mean, such a child, and she was a kid back then, obviously, but very innocent, very childlike, very naive. And then you watch this, and you feel like there's a level of manipulativeness.
Yeah.
There's definitely an understanding that she is no longer a kid in this film.
That's for sure.
She doesn't come across like she's in Dune.
Yeah.
And in Dune, she's got this warrior spirit and, is a fighter and very much her own person. And I don't want to give anything away, but, fighting against her destiny, so to speak. And in this, it feels very manipulative and very adult. It is going to be a rated R film, I'm sure. I don't think the rating has been hit pending yet, last I saw, but that may have changed overnight. But it's going to be an interesting one to see. The next one, I'm, again, looking forward to this one, April 26th, Boy Kills World. Did you watch the trailer for that?
I did. So the note that I have is
give me it to me.
Scott Pilgrim times Mortal Kombat times John Wick times Kill Bill.
Yes, that exactly. That's Boy Kills World. Great title as well, by the way. Bill Skarsgård. You either love his roles or you hate his roles. And I know he's gotten a lot of headlines lately because of the look that came out, the first looks for Crow.
Yeah.
And people saying, that's not the Crow I want. That's not, Brandon Lee. That's not what it should be. Honor that, not the comics, whatever. Argue it either way, debate it either way. But he throws himself into his roles. And this one looks hilarious. Famke Janssen, huge fan of her. Jessica Rothe in it as well. The voice of Bob from Bob's Burgers, or Archer from Archer. You'll know that voice when you hear that voice. Watch the trailer. That's all I can say. Watch the trailer on this one. You'll know from watching the trailer if it's a you movie or it's not a you movie.
Definitely.
You'll know right away from
Definitely.
that. So worth checking out.
I think it'll be a great ride, that movie.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun time.
Yeah. Also, April 26th, we've got Humane. That's a horror thriller. That's another one I kind of recommend checking out the trailer for. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one because that one's probably going to get featured a little bit more on our next episode. And, I want to bring everybody up to speed with that one then. I'm running out of time here, so we're going to move through these next ones pretty quick. We got Breathe. That's a post-apocalyptic thriller, which post-apocalyptic is taking a big jump up again with, Fallout being on TV or on streaming. And it's got, of course, Mila Jovovich, Sam Worthington, Common, and Jennifer Hudson, 4 really big names, and not a huge cast list. So they were able to put a lot of money into set pieces and making this one look good.
Yeah, with the eclipse, too. It's a big year for the apocalypse.
Big year for the apocalypse. For all we know, it's already happened, and we're all living in a dream now. Fall Guy, this one looks great. Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, action, comedy, drama. We'll definitely be featuring that one later. Another horror film, Tarot, coming out May 3rd, alongside Fall Guy. Another horror film that one could be interesting.
I hate tarot cards. I hate the idea of it. I went to New Orleans. I think we've talked about this on Break Time before. Went to New Orleans, stayed as far away from tarot card readers as I could. I hate the idea of someone telling me my future.
Oh, okay.
Don't like it.
So that won't be on your list. And because we got to have a kid family-friendly movie coming out sometime soon, Dragon Keeper, animated film featuring the voice of Bill Nye. You probably know him from Pirates of the Caribbean and a bunch of other things. It's nice to see a family film on the horizon, but this looks like it's going to be kind of one of those B Company animated films. So don't expect a Disney blockbuster, probably cookie-cutter story, but still worth taking your kids to because you know what? Your kids don't care. Well, that's all it for taking care of the movie stuff for At the Movies with Ninja and Charlie today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Hometown today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge, and of course brought to you by our fine friends at Professional Floor Covering, and in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in Beaver Dam. I believe we're still going to be qualifying a few people for the Right to Win contest over there at McKinstry's, so feel free to call in or text in if you want to become a part of that. We got some slots left and available. And we want to thank you for tuning in to Hometown Today.